update because I talked to my nurse today at the fertility clinic, and we now have our dates-ish for our frozen embryo transfer. And the reason why I say ish is because for us, they will defrost our fertilized eggs on March 11th, and then either on March 13th or March 15th is when we will do our transfer. And so it's a little bit, they actually said we may not know until the day of or maybe the day before as to which one of those two dates it will be. And the reason for that is that since they froze our eggs right after they were fertilized, instead of letting them grow out in the lab and develop more, they are going to do that at this point. So when they defrost them, they're going to put them in the embryology lab and watch them divide and develop. And my guess, and this is just my primitive assumptions as to what exactly is going on, so don't take this as hard truth or that this is exactly it, but my guessing is that they want to get, of course, the best quality embryo that they can to put back inside of me. And so they're watching them develop, and if they're not developing so well, my guess is that they would transfer them earlier. And sometimes that turns out to be a perfectly good, transfer, and implantation happens and a healthy pregnancy comes about, through that. And that would probably be on the earlier date. So they would be like a 3-day embryo at that point on March 13th. But if they can grow longer, because once they get to become blastocyst, so that's around day 5 or 6, they can see more clearly, from my understanding, like the quality of the embryo. And so then they would be able to see like, okay, yeah, these are still doing really well in the lab, and so we'll just let them continue doing their thing, and then on the 15th we would transfer. And we're only going to transfer one embryo, so if anyone's curious as to that, some people do transfer 2 or something like that, but our clinic is pretty I guess strong in the sense of only doing 1, especially since they say we're young and all of that, and I am a lot more comfortable with that too. I don't want to put us at risk of having twins. Not that I would be against having twins. I think twins are so fun and so cute, but there are some additional risks that could come with that, and so I'm totally fine with that. And so yeah, we would just transfer 1 embryo, and anything that we could potentially have left over that made it to that 6-day or 5-day blastocyst stage, they would then freeze again for us to use in the future. So I'm guessing if they decide to transfer early, they might let some of the other ones continue to grow and see what they do, but if we don't have any that continue to develop, then we won't have any to freeze. So anyway, just wanted to give you guys that kind of quick update on that. And just that, yeah, March 13th or March 15th is when we're going to be doing our transfer. So I actually, so far the protocol is on Monday, I will start taking birth control, and I think I'm on that for about 2 weeks. And I'm going to get a sheet. My nurse is going to email me some information and stuff about everything, but she kind of roughly told me already. And then like after that, I would be on estrogen for 2 weeks, and then I would be on the progesterone injections for about 6 days potentially before we do the transfer. So that's where we are right now. And also I wanted to share with you guys too just some more of the emotional side of it that I'm experiencing. And I had kind of a rough day today, and it's kind of strange when I think about it. It's like, okay, we're moving on, this is the next step of we're I don't know, I guess just, I feel like maybe I should be excited for this next step that we're, getting on, and the next thing is us doing the transfer. But I think for me, I've really, I think what it comes to is that I feel as though I should not feel negative feelings about this. I'm saying the word feel a lot, but what I mean is just like doubting it, thinking that it's not going to work. And I have been feeling that, and I have been thinking that. And I think I had to allow myself to feel that today. I had to allow myself to even say those things out loud. And thankfully, my husband was so supportive this morning and just let me cry with him and let me say those things. And he cried with me. And it was so healing for me. And I think a lot of times it kind of brought to mind for me that I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves going through IVF. There's all these thoughts of like, you got to remain positive thinking, if you think positively about it, it will happen, and blah, blah, blah. And, not that any of that stuff is really true. And, I do think there is value in thinking, positively, and, in gratitude for this stage, and living in gratitude whatever is going on in my life in that moment. But there's also room for those negative feelings and emotions of sadness, of even fear and worry, because I think there is, just today I was just fearing that in March we're going to have a devastation and we're going to find out that it didn't work. And there's also those times where I think, oh, we're going to have a baby in December and blah, blah, blah. And, so I guess what I want to encourage, you guys, wherever you are in your infertility struggle, or even a different type of struggle of longing for something to happen in your life, that it's okay to allow those negative feelings and thoughts to come out. Because if we keep trying to suppress them and think like, oh no, I shouldn't feel this way, I shouldn't think this way, like what a blessing I have to do this, and not that those things are not true, but like you can't just like shove your feelings down and expect them to go away, because they won't. And so I just want to encourage you and myself in this process that it's okay to cry. It's okay to just be discouraged and even feeling of depression in something like this. No one wants to go through something like this, and I'm probably going to get emotional now, which is good. And no one wants to have a baby this way, and it's so uncertain, and it's so taxing on your body, and it's so foreign, and it's yeah, and it's just something that no one ever wants to go through necessarily. You get to a place where you're like thankful that this is an option for you, and that your chances are increasing so much by doing all of this invasive stuff to your body. But at the same time, there's room for grief in the midst of it. And it's expected. And don't feel ashamed or feel bad that you're going to make your outcome different because you're thinking negatively about it, or you're feeling sad or depressed about it. And so, I had to tell myself that, because I feel like there's even just messages out there that we hear that so many things can affect the outcome. And a lot of it, personally, I feel like is just correlation and not causation. So, meaning that, I don't know, a crazy, silly example that some of you might have heard is McDonald's French fries. People say, go get McDonald's French fries after your embryo transfer and it will make it more successful. And it's like, who comes up with this stuff? You know, I mean, someone maybe had McDonald's French fries and that was their IVF or frozen embryo transfer, whatever that worked. And so because that eating McDonald's French fries correlated with their IVF and it being successful, they contributed to McDonald's French fries. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is let yourself just release all of that. And I'm telling it to myself too, to release control. And I think it does come down to that. We were grasping for these straws, like I've talked about before, where I just want control. I want something that I feel like I can do to affect the outcome. And not that taking care of yourself is not important and, you know, avoiding those things that they clearly talk about avoiding, like alcohol and smoking and drugs and all this stuff. But like, you know, when it comes to these little detail things of eating McDonald's French fries or eating, you know, certain, you know, pineapple or whatever, or, you know, just, and even just thinking positively all the time about it is going to make it successful. Like, give yourself the freedom to just be sad sometimes, because this isn't how it's supposed to be. And it may not work. That is a possibility. And so I guess I'm just feeling the weight of that today and allowing myself to feel that and know that I also have God to fall back on. I have my husband to fall back on. I have support around me to fall back on. And knowing that I'm not alone in this as well, and that you're not alone in this. So if you're sad, if you're fearful of the outcome, that's normal. So yeah, I guess that's just kind of a quick little thing I wanted to share that impacted me today, and I'm sure there'll be more. And but I just wanted to encourage anyone who's listening that's having those kind of negative feelings and emotions about this. That's normal and expected, and you have the space to do that, and it's okay. So yeah, anyway guys, I yes, I'm just gonna close it off here for this video, and thank you so much for watching, and thank you for subscribing and liking, and I would love to talk to you more and hear more of your stories down below, and just that we can continue just to share what's going on, whether you struggle with infertility or not, whether you're just a friend or family member or someone who just stumbled upon this. I would just love to hear, you know, hear from you down below. So anyway, I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you. Bye.